The last transformation that we're going to work with is dilation. This involves moving every coordinate point in a figure along a line connecting its initial location to the point of dilation. So here's my point of dilation. If I have a line connecting that to the initial point, and then I multiply the distance along that line, still from the point of dilation, by a uniform scale factor. The scale factor is just how much we blow it up or shrink it down, by what factor we blow it up or shrink it down. So this one is being increased by a factor of about 1.5 or so. And you can see that that's true for every point. This distance is increased by about 1.5 or so. We don't know the exact scale factor for this one. So if the scale factor is bigger than 1, than 1.0, then the image is bigger or larger than the pre-image and farther away from the point of dilation. Further. And you can see that here in this picture, where each point, PQR is the pre-image, and each point is further away from the point of dilation than it started with when you go to the image in red. On the other hand, if the scale factor is less than 1, then the image is smaller than the pre-image and closer to the point of dilation. And you can see that here, where the pre-image now is in red, and each point slides along the line closer to the point of dilation. Okay, so it gets closer, and as those lines get closer to the point of dilation, they get closer and closer together, and so the image that's formed by those different points is smaller because they are closer together. Okay, so let's do a couple of these. If I look at this first figure on the left, I can see that my pre-image is the larger of the shapes. This is A, B, C, and D, whereas these other ones have primes on them, indicating that the transformation has been done. So I know I'm getting smaller. And the fact that all of these points are connected along the same line, like if I take B and go along the same line, I have B prime and then the point of dilation. Same thing with C, C prime, point of dilation, and all of them. The fact that that's true means I know I'm dilating by a uniform scale factor. It's the same for all the points for X and for Y. So all I have to do is look at one point. So I can see that B is at 3, 1. B prime, I can see the X value is 1. Well, that means that my scale factor must be 1/3. I'm going 1/3 as far away from the point of dilation as I did originally, which means even though I can't read off the graph exactly what the Y value of B prime is, I know logically it has to be 1/3. So this one is, let's see, B is 1/3, B prime rather. A prime is going to be just the opposite. It's going to be 1/3, 1. Okay, and each of these is just going to decrease by a scale factor of 1/3. So 6 becomes 2, 3 becomes 1, 3 becomes 1, 6 becomes 2. And the rule here is that every X value becomes 1/3 of itself, and every Y value becomes 1/3 of itself. All right, on the other hand, sorry, I forgot to write in my scale factor, 1/3. Okay, on the other hand, sometimes the scale factor makes it larger. So on the right, I can see my original points are these down here, and then they are dilated to make a bigger figure. So in this case, my scale factor, let's see, this is at 2, point C is at 2, and then it goes out to 6. So now my scale factor is I'm multiplying by 3. So my scale factor is 3. So I'm going to take every x value and every y value and multiply by 3. -3, 6. Let's see. -3, 6. Yep, that worked. -3, 3. Yep. 6, 3. So 6, 3. Yep, there it is. And finally 6, 6. Oops. Which is right there. So here my scale factor is 3, and my rule is x comma y goes to 3x comma 3y, which just tells me that the x and the y values both get multiplied by 3. All right, so sometimes you don't have the graph, but you can still, you know that your rule is just you're multiplying by the scale factor. So if my scale factor is 5, that means x goes to 5x and y goes to 5y. So I just take my different points and I multiply by 5. So if A is 2, 2, it becomes 10, 10. If B is 2, -3, it becomes 2, -15. If C is -5, -3, it becomes -25, -15. If D is -7, 0, it becomes -35, 0. And E is -5, 2, so that's -25, 10. Same thing down here. Here my scale factor is 1/2, so the rule is 1/2 x, 1/2 y. So I just take half of my various points. Sorry, having a little bit of technical difficulty there. That's why it took a second. That's -3.5, 0, and -2.5, 1. And that's it. So you can try some other ones on this page and do your homework.